What's up, everybody? This is Isaac, Deluxe Detail Service. it's a pretty crappy day out here in Joplin, Missouri. Today, I'm wanting to make a video to show everybody how to make a mobile detailing water tank so you can carry your own water if you need to on a budget. So I'm going to show you. The actual tank itself costs me nothing. It's free. It's 55 gallons of water. The next step up would have been to buy a 65-gallon tank from like Tractor Supply or anywhere else that has those kind of tanks. And I looked into them, and to get them shipped from places is pretty outrageous. And then to get a Tractor Supply has a 65-gallon tank. It's about, after taxes and everything, it's about $300. So in this video, I am showing a much more budget, just starting out friendly water tank setup that can cost you next to nothing. Alright everybody, so this is a little sneak peek of my enclosed trailer detailing rig. I actually have it pretty much gutted right now because I'm putting a bigger tank and redoing some stuff, so I just thought while I had it all apart, be a great time to give a preview of how I made a free water tank. Well, there's components that cost money obviously, but I'm saying the tank itself was free. So this is a very budget setup for someone starting out or for anybody that's looking to save money. It might not look like the most professional setup, but I'm telling you right now, like if you're looking at this and don't think it looks professional, I guarantee you, I promise you, there's no customer that you do any work for is going to go in your trailer and see that and think twice about it. No one. And if they do, well, you probably don't want them as a customer if they care that much, honestly. So what I'm getting at is keep it simple and don't try to impress other detailers on Facebook with your expensive rigs, unless you want to. But me, I use what works, what's cheap, what does the job good, and that's all that matters to me. So without going on a tangent on that anymore, I got this 55-gallon drum that was given to me, and then I use a hole saw to drill a hole in the bottom of it. And I actually, you can see all the caulking and crap. I drilled the hole like just the tiniest, like a 1/16 of an inch too big for that bulkhead, so it leaked. It like was a very slow leak, but I don't want any leaks, obviously. So over the course of a couple days, I put a crap load of caulk around it and just like sealed the hole up so now it doesn't leak at all. Instead of messing around getting a new barrel and just trying it again, I just patched that up. And then that is a spigot that that's threaded on the back of it, and it has a big nut bulkhead type of deal that goes on the inside of the drum that keeps it tight. And there's different kinds. You can get like a two-headed one. There's all kinds of different configurations. Looking back, if I was to do this again, I would have got an actual ball valve for more flow. And so I was worried that this would starve the power washer, because that's just like it's a pretty small, it's actually what this is like a rainwater kit, like a rainwater collection kit. But it's worked fine with no issue so far. So if you're wanting that, go on Amazon and search up a rainwater drum spigot kit, or it's just something along those lines, and those will pop up. It's just a threaded spigot with a nut on the back of it. And so what you do is you take the bung off and you use fishing line. What I personally did was I just used a whole bunch of zip ties around the nut and fished it down there and put that spigot through the hole. And like with that was actually pretty hard. The hardest part is getting that because I also, it's a lot easier if you line that hole up with the hole, then all you gotta do, like with a hole in the top, then all you gotta do is drop it straight down. I did not think about that, and I put the hole for the spigot, I put it way off to the side, so I had to fish it down through that bunghole, bunghole, and then like angle it all weird to get the nut to come over to this side, if that makes any sense what I'm trying to say. So whenever you do this, you want that hole to line up with the top hole. So then all you gotta do is drop the nut straight down. You don't have to worry about leaning the barrel to a certain side. It actually made it extremely difficult what I did by offsetting it like that. That ended up making it very hard. Alright, so anyway, so you got your tank, you got your bulkhead, and then if you're gravity feeding, you do not need this, but I'm not gravity feeding. That is a 12-volt pump from Harbor Freight. It's about 60 bucks, and it has attached, they have ones with alligator clips instead of a plug. So if you like put like a lawnmower battery or something back here, you could just use the alligator clips. That if you don't have a generator close, or you're not set up for it with a generator, you want the ones with the alligator clips, and you just get like a mower battery to power that pump. So what I do, I got the one with the 12-volt plug. So you have your pump, plug it into the generator, then it feeds water to the pump of the power washer, and there's no starvation. So that'll definitely save your washers that way, as opposed to gravity feeding. Which there's some guys on the Facebook forums, like Detailing for Money, all those big groups that people know about, they've gravity fed their whole career, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I just don't like it. I tried it, and I probably did it wrong, honestly, but I don't know. Alright, so you got your pump, got a hose going into the pump, out of the pump, then that hose will go to the power washer, and that is all you need. It'll work just fine, as if you connected it to a house. That'll work full pressure, no loss of pressure at all. Work just like as if it's to a house. There's my power washer. I got it. I use like little conduit bands to secure it, to permanently keep it in the trailer. And then I have a whole crap load of hose. That's only like 25 foot there. I keep a bunch of extra in my truck. And so I don't take the power washer out of the trailer unless I have to. I have had to a couple times, and it's a pain, but it's okay. So that's all you need: tank, spigot, auxiliary pump, power washer. That's all you need. But I also and a power source for the pump, unless you're gravity feeding. If you're gravity feeding, that's all you need is the tank, hose, spigot, power washer. Don't need pump, don't need power source. But it's unreliable to me. It's hard on the power washer, especially like cheap power washers. You'll burn through pumps real quick. And then also, this is my deionized water tank that makes this setup a little more complicated, and a lot of people don't have these. So whenever I don't have it hooked up right now, like I said, I'm moving everything around, but usually I'll have this in line with all this. So it'll be tank, spigot, pump in through the DI tank, hose out to the DI tank, then power washer. And with this, it does create a slight loss of pressure. Even whenever the valves are off, it does hurt the pressure a little bit. It'd be better if I had like really short hoses, which I will get eventually, but I don't have it yet. But this, I use this as a final rinse, and it makes no water spots. And that is probably one of the biggest time savers in my whole business, is a DI tank. This, I got the basic tank. It's like 200, maybe closer to 300 bucks. And then I've refilled it once, and it's 100 bucks for the resin refill. And the one I got is No Spots Pro. And there's a company that like rebrands all, so a couple different brands like the Adams, and there's another brand. This is all the same tank. It's like private labeled. I don't know how any of that crap works. I don't know if No Spots Pro is like the main company that private labeled it or what. I have no idea how any of the inner workings of that. But so I turn this on for the final rinse, and then there's no drying. So I'll make a separate video on this. It's definitely worth the investment, especially because drying towels are expensive, and drying is, to me, is just the worst part of washing anything, is drying. So to sum up, get you a free 55-gallon drum, hole saw. I don't remember the size. Yeah, I don't remember what size hole saw. That might be helpful, but I don't remember. Hole saw, spigot and bulkhead, auxiliary pump that needs power source, power washer, and you got water. Very simple and cheap. The gravity feeding is cheaper, but this is more reliable. I've never had any issues at all. But another thing to keep in mind is that is a brushed pump, so there's brushes in there, and brushes wear, so it comes with like a little rebuild kit when you buy it. For 60 bucks, I've used that. I've put a lot of hours on that pump, and I've had no issues so far, so it's definitely all right, everybody. So another option, if you need more water than 55 gallons, is IBC totes. Lots of pressure washers and fleet washers exclusively use these. It's 275 gallons. I think there's maybe bigger ones, and there's also smaller ones, but the main ones you'll find is 275 gallons. And what you want to do is go on Facebook Marketplace and search IBC Tote, and I guarantee you there's going to be someone in your area that sells a crap load of these. I paid for a food grade one, I paid like 60 bucks. In your area, might be more, might be cheaper. There's always different sellers. There's like a bunch of people selling these in my area. So I could get it from anywhere from like 40 bucks to 60 bucks. 60 being a little bit on the higher, but I got a food grade one. So I use this in the back of my truck whenever I do my fleets. So I have a fleet, and I'm working on adding more fleets, and I definitely, whenever I need to bring my own water, 55 gallons does not cut it, so this definitely came in handy. So I keep that in the back of bed of my truck, and I use the same deal I just showed you. I use that 12-volt pump, then from the pump to the power washer. When I do fleets, I don't mess with the DI tank at all, because they don't care if they're spotted. They just want them rinsed off, basically. But I mean, every company's different, so I don't mess with the DI tank at all when it comes to this bad boy. With these, since these are easier to gravity feed if you wanted to, because there's a lot more water and a lot more gravity, so these are better to gravity feed from, but I still don't like doing that. And all right, another thing I need to mention is that whenever you get these, they have these big valves. I'll take this off and show you what it looks like. It's frozen. Never mind. So I bought this off of Amazon. It covers that, and this is a garden hose connection. And not all IBC totes are made the same. Lots of them have different types of threads and everything, and so this goes over that whole like orifice, and so connect the hose straight to there. So it goes adapter, hose, pump, hose, power washer. And remember, you have to have the power source for the pump. So that's just another little bonus. If you want a big water tank for cheap, you can't really get these free. If you get these for free, they're always like butchered. People, you like take the tank out and put firewood in them, or just they do all kinds of crap with these things. So make sure, if you're going to use this for a water tank, obviously make sure it's intact. You don't necessarily have to get a food grade one because you're not going to be drinking this water, but you also want to clean them out. So like pour a bunch of water and bleach and slosh it around, and do that a couple times to clean them out. And I would give you a video of it working, but it's like below freezing here in Joplin, Missouri right now, so I can't really give you a preview. But I've been using this for a long time now. Lots of vehicles done with this setup, with these cheap and free water tanks. So I'm just wanting to give some information, help someone starting out. Alright everybody, so in conclusion, I want to say thank you for watching my video. It's Isaac with Deluxe Detail Service. And one thing I forgot to mention about these tanks is, so for 55 gallons, it all depends on how you conserve water. I tend to blow through water because I'm mobile. I'm doing working in the sun a lot. I always keep even though I have my DI tank, I always keep the cars wet, so I tend to go through a lot of water. So with 55 gallons, I could probably do about like 3 cars probably, and maybe like 2 trucks or 2 SUVs, or a really dirty truck and 1 car. This is all rough estimates. With the 275 gallons, when I do the fleet of trucks, oh man, it's crazy how much water those semis use when you're two-stepping. That's a whole nother video. So that's like a rough estimate on how many vehicles you can do. And another thing I want to say, I'm making this video pretty long, but another thing I want to say is, you do not have to carry your own water to be out there making money. Do not wait until you have a water set up to go out there and make some money. Even if you've been doing it for years, you don't have to have your water to be professional or to impress anybody on Facebook. I promise you, I've been in some situations where I did have to have my own water, or else it wouldn't have worked. But 90% of the time, the customers will already have their hoses and extension cords out there waiting for me to use. Don't worry about if you need to price, like give them a discount for using their water and electricity. Do not worry about that. Do not let it cross your mind. No good customer will care about that. Any good customer will have all that stuff ready for you and be happy to let you use their stuff. Because think about this, as a contractor that like comes to do any type of work on your house, do they bring their own power? Well, probably sometimes they do. In certain situations, it's just like us detailers. We're contractors just like any other contractor. So sometimes we have to bring our own stuff, and most of the time we don't. So whenever I use that IBC Tote, I'm not carrying around 275 gallons of water all the time. That would kill my truck. It's a half-ton truck. It's not rated deer for that. So whenever, yeah, that's another story. But, so what I am going on a tangent about is, it's nice to have your own water. There have been situations where I had to have my own water, or else I wouldn't have been able to do what I needed to do that day. But do not worry about having to have water to be a professional. Customers don't care. That guy on that Facebook group that says you have to is arrogant, and take anything on those groups with a grain of salt. So what I'm wanting to do is conclude this video. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. I really hope this helped. And oh, another thing, this water tank and pump is not only for detailing applications. I could see farmers using this for all kinds of crap, like fill those tanks up with their whatever they use on their crops. I don't know about all that, like weed killer and crap. Actually, maybe not. That'll probably kill those 12-volt pumps. But there's pumps that are made to pump bleach. That might work for pesticides and stuff. I don't know. All I'm trying to get at, before I sound like an idiot, talk about stuff I don't know what I'm talking about. All I'm saying is there's many applications for this, not just detailing. Anyway, this is Isaac, Deluxe Detail Service, making another video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all my views and everything. Have a good rest of your day, and until my next video.